We are at CES 2017 in the NVIDIA suite, and I am joined by Fabris from BioWare, talking about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Sure. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So how long have you been working on Mass Effect Andromeda personally?
5 years since the beginning of Andromeda. I was before that on Mass Effect 3. Worked a lot with the art team, level teams, multiplayer. I worked on Mass Effect 3 multiplayer as well, and then went on to DLC and Andromeda. So yeah, I've been there since the beginning actually.
Very cool. So having been here since the beginning, you could probably tell me a bit about the development process for Andromeda. And one of the things we were just talking about was on the graphics side. So we've got an HDR display behind us. For implementing HDR as a developer, what is there on your end that you have to do? Is there any explicit action you have to do?
Yeah, so first, I think the first thing to mention is that 5 years ago, there was no HDR. It wasn't even a conversation, it was no 4K. So when HDR appeared and the discussion started, I think one of the things we were afraid of is the need to redo assets and stuff like that. So nothing of that happened. And actually it just required upfront to integrate it in the engine. So we're using Frostbite. And we're lucky because Frostbite, as everybody knows, is visually probably the leading engine on the market for visuals. So it was integrated in Frostbite. And once that is done, that process is done, it will actually, there's a legacy that it stays there for all the games that are using Frostbite. And on our side, then the only thing we need to do is color grading. Obviously, there is still some work there, so we have the graphics engineer doing that. It's not a lot of work, and it's definitely worth it when you see the results. It's always hard to show them on video. The reason HDR, that's the problem. You need to see them, but you saw it, so I think you can testify how beautiful it is actually in HDR compared to the SDR. Oh yeah, there's way more depth. The brightness also, nothing is meeting the edge. It's very sharp, and in our game, the levels are huge and often very open, so you can see actually very far away. And the level of details you get with HDR, and then the color grading and all that is just amazing. So for us, also we're building alien worlds, and it's very important to get that feeling, that immersion. And obviously we're a game in space, so we got a lot of opportunities to push HDR as far as we can. So.
Very cool. On the color grading side, so is that a manual process, or is there any automation there? How much of the work is done for you by the technology?
So a lot of it. Obviously, the work is done by graphics engineers. So our guys are going into there and trying to find systemic ways to enhance that. So there's no, and then you also got a pass done by tech art that's going to double check the artistic value of it. So it's a mix of both, but it's mostly systemic. Obviously, they're trying to optimize the process there. So.
And I'll bring up Ansel while we're here, since we're in the NVIDIA suite. So Ansel, for those who don't know, we've covered it previously, maybe at the Austin event, but it's a screenshot utility. The interesting thing I was hearing from you is that you've got use cases in development for Ansel. So what are the details to that?
Yeah, so when we started integrating Ansel in the game, obviously we tested it and see everything was working, worked closely with NVIDIA. But once it was there and working, we actually realized that even internally it's not only pretty fun to use, and you have the 360 view of the screenshot. This is absolutely awesome. But it also helps, for example, you're doing QA, looking for issues in the levels and all that. You capture the 360 levels to exactly see where the problem is and have great view of it. So we're even using it now between us just to communicate with that. And Ansel is really good. That was another thing really easy to integrate actually in the game. And again, we're showing new environments. It's a new game, and the more opportunity people have to share their experience with Andromeda, the better for us. So that was a really good tool too.
Right. So for a couple of other notes on graphics, is there anything special you can tell me about the demo going on behind us? I understand it's in-engine, which is important.
So absolutely. So what you're seeing right behind us is actually in the engine. It's not a video. It's a camera timeline looping. So just like a cinematics, we're building a cinematic. It's in real time, 4K, HDR. It's in a level called the vault, so it's fairly at the beginning of the game. In the game you have several vaults, but those places are very important narratively. You'll see they hold the key, a bit the answer and the key to what's going on in that new galaxy you're in. And again, they're really huge level. You see a lot of, if we get into more details, you see there's a lot of emissive in there. There's a lot of VFX going on. And this camera, as you can, I don't know how much you can see on video, but the performance is actually pretty sweet. You've seen it running since this morning, 9 a.m. So you can see that it's pretty fluid.
Right. Yeah, and I guess optimization's probably not even done yet, right?
Yeah, no. So a lot of it isn't done. As you know now, we're releasing March 21st.
Right.
So we still have all those optimization passes to do.
Very cool. So March 21st for the full release. Is there a website or Twitter account anyone should follow?
MassEffect.com.
There you go, MassEffect.com. Thank you for watching. Subscribe as always. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you all next time.